Hello, it's Diecast, and we're over in the workshop for this one. I'm getting a run of customs ready, and I've had a lot of requests for people wanting me to show how I do my customs. And honestly, I've tried about 5 times, and I've shot the video, and they were just awful. And, you know, not all my videos are great, but they were just awful. And so I'm going to give it another try. So I guess if you're seeing this, then I thought this one was at least good enough to go. And I'm going to do this in steps. So this one, all I'm going to be doing in this one is just taking the paint off of this car. You can see I've already done that with a bunch of these. So these are all Torinos. I think they're 69 Torinos. And I've already drilled this one out. So there's all of our parts. The drill, and I'm not going to go out over how to drill out the rivets. There's plenty of videos on YouTube about that, and plenty of other guys that do these videos have covered that. I also have one, but there are some better ones. So I've already drilled out the rivets on that. I've also drilled the post hole in there, and I've not tapped it yet, but I can do that later. So these 3 pieces, the base, the little interior piece, and the windshield, they go over here, and you can see we're doing quite a few of them. Those are all Torinos. So, and there they are, a little junkyard full of Torinos over there. That's going to be our run. This is the last one we have yet to do. So I'm going to put the microphone down here for just a second and hook this guy up with his wire. So this wire that I use, all it is just a fairly thick wire, and you can see I use a lot. I used a lot. I've used this same wire for a long time. I have about 10 of these, and we're just going to stick that through the back of it and just twist it so that it holds. There you go. See that? And what that allows me to do is to dip it into, as we call it, the goop. It's a boiling cauldron of toxic waste there. It is paint stripper, and I use this brand, this Stripex. It's Walmart's store brand. There's also another brand, and I'll post it below, that I've used. I've used both, and they both work really just as well. This brand does not last as long, but it's cheaper. So it's all what you want to use, and probably any other brand would work. I'm going to put the mic down again. So this guy just goes in there, and that wire is so I don't have to put my hands in there when it's done. Alright, and then we cover it up. Paint stripper will evaporate really quickly. It's got a lot of acetone in it. So there you go. And we're going to come back in a little bit and we'll see what we've got. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take this car out. It hasn't been that long. By the way, if you're wondering what this thing is, it's a magnet. So when I pull them out, it pulls the wire out with it. So you can see almost all the paint just fell off of that guy. Of course, he was silver to start with, but that's not paint. That's just metal. And so I'm going to go wash him off, and I'll be right back, and we'll take a look at him. This is what he looks like when he's all washed off. So it was a silver car to start with, but that's with all the paint removed. Now the paint comes off really pretty easy. Every casting's a little different. Sometimes the paint is thicker. I found some colors of paint just don't come off as easy, but all in all, the paint will come off. So we take this little wire off. It's done its job. Kept me from frying my fingers in paint remover. And now this guy, you could just paint him, but see all that little bits of paint that are still there? So there's going to be kind of a 3-step process to get that paint off. The first one is, and I need to change my Dremel bit to show you what I use. Sorry for the dirty fingers. I was I was actually doing this stuff, and I don't have a way to get washed up out here in the garage. So the first thing I do is I use these little, I've got two of them here. These are well used, but these little wire brushes, and I hook them up to my Dremel. So I'll do that real quick. By the way, if you don't have a Dremel and you're trying to do customizing or anything that's like model making, you're killing yourself. There's easier ways to do it. You got to get yourself a Dremel. So I use this one. It is the Dremel 8100. It's kind of the mid-range one. It's real good. The battery life is great. It's held up for a long time for me. And I just use these little wire brushes. And I'm not going to do the whole thing here because I'll be flicking paint all over my workshop. But all I do is just run that wire brush through there. And can you see how it kind of cleaned that up? And it's usually just the little, it's the little grooves. And you don't want to run it too high. These do get hot. And you'll just wear out your equipment. So I would do the whole car that way. And you can see how it started to clean it up already. Then, this is quick time. I've got a whole bunch of these little files, and they're all in different shapes. And you can tell they're well used, but they work just fine. And I'll go through and file out all the openings. And the reason I do that is because there's always little bits of metal that, even though you don't really see them too much, when you get paint on them, they get exaggerated because the paint wraps around all that stuff. So can you see in there all that little kind of chewed up metal right in there? I'll focus for you. Right by my grubby thumb there. Come on, there you go. Right in there. And so I'll come in and file all that down using different files. And it takes a little while. So we would do that with this whole guy. Then I'd come back in with my Dremel and use this guy, which is a mess right now. It's a rag brush Dremel attachment. I go through these pretty quickly. They last okay, but you will have to get a few of them. And it's usually white. It looks like a bunch of little rags put together. This one's been well used. It's the last one I have. I need to order more. And we hook that guy up to the Dremel. And then we use this stuff, which is the best stuff I have found, this metal polish cream. It's by Blue Magic. I have used other brands, and the other brands are fine, but the other brands kind of leave an oily residue where this doesn't. And my paint sometimes had trouble sticking with the other, where this one, it's fine. And then all I do, instead of turning the Dremel on and flicking this all over my workshop, what I do is kind of mop it on, just like that. Okay? Just kind of mop it on there, and I usually do 1/2 of a car at a time. Right around the time I start burning my hands. So you just kind of mop that on there, and then I'm going to turn this on down here so it flicks stuff away from me. And then just come in here, and it's going to turn, it's on a very low speed. See how it's going to turn like an inky black? That means it's doing its job. And all you do is you just kind of mop this around on there. See how black it's turned? And just kind of let it grind down. This is a very low abrasive. That's how it's going to get the polish. And the reason we like to use it, or at least I do, is because it will make the flat surfaces just perfectly flat, like really nice and slick. So they're really ready to hold the paint. Now I would do this for about another minute. I'd do that for about another minute, and then we fire this guy up to full speed, and it's probably going to be loud. And we would polish that. So we'd polish that, and usually I don't hold it. I have like a vise. It's on the other side over there. So we'd polish that all up. Then let me wipe my hands off here a little bit at least so that we can see the and then part. What you end up with is basically a Zamac car. There you go. And so it's going to have a mirror finish on it. You got to get all that polish off of it. And I know you can't tell so much, but that is really smooth. Now, sometimes I come over the top of that with a wet dry sandpaper, like 1,000 grit or so, even 2,000. Not always. I find that pretty much gets it in good shape. And then I'll use the sandpaper once I get it painted. So here's another one. This is a different job, but you can really tell on the top of that dairy delivery. See that finish? It's like a chrome finish on it. It's basically a Zamac at this point. So now we get ready to paint, and that's going to be a different video. So I'll leave you here, and part 2 will be about prepping this thing for the paint and getting some paint on it. See you later. Bye. Thought I'd put 2 side by side so you can really see the difference. You know, the one on the left has been, you know, basically still cleaned with a wire brush and sanded, but the one on the right is much, much smoother. Just to show you the difference. Bye bye.